Welcome to My Zone Online School. My name is Teacher Mutsa. Get your education booklet in our daily newspaper, street sales, or at your school every Monday to Thursday for pre-primary up until grade 3. The lessons are for listening or watching online. Inside the newspapers, there is an insert of the lesson booklet. Please cut the top of the lesson booklet with a pair of scissors and fold it for ready to use. But there is more. We are also available on our online platforms, MyZone and Zoshi Facebook pages, and in addition, our website, Zoshi Online.
Hello everyone, welcome to My Zone Online School. My name is Teacher Hartung. Now our theme for this week is plants and growth. Now before we start with any lessons, we have to remember to sanitize. Remember boys and girls, sanitizing keeps all the dirty germs away. Now let's see what we are going to do today. Today's lesson will be about vocabulary and sight words, reading comprehension, and length. In the first lesson for today, we are going to do some vocabulary and sight words. Let's turn our booklets to page 3. Now on page 3 it says, read the following words and find it in the word search below. Now you will see in the little square or rectangular block, there are few words given to you there. Okay, now you have to look at the words and then you have to find the words in the word search. Right. Now you will see there are a lot of words in this word search. I took a little piece out of the word search which I put on the board, and I am going to do 2 words with you. Now boys and girls, you need to remember that when you do a word search, you can find your words from up to down. You can find your words from down under to up top. You can find your words from left to right, or you can also find your words from right to left. And in this word search, you can even find your words across the word search or the blocks. Now what you have to do is you have to go back to the block, look at the words and try to find the words in the word search. Now I took just a little piece of the word search which I put on the board, and here we have 2 words that we can find. Okay, now if we quickly can quickly go back to page 3. Let's quickly have a look at all the words that we have to look for. Ran, out, brown, magic beans, beanstalk, cow, cell, giant, golden, eggs, harp, and chopped. Now these are the words that we have to look for. Okay, now the 2 words that I am going to find with you is the word cell and the word harp. Now let's quickly go back to the board and see where these 2 words are. So if you look at the word search, what is always helpful is if you find the first letter of a word. Now let's see if we can find the word harp. What does the word harp start with? It starts with the letter H. Do you see a letter H anywhere in the blocks, in the word search? Over here we have the letter H. Okay, now let's see. Can we find the second letter of the word, which is an A? Is there an A next to it, below it, or on top? There we go. On top of the letter H, we have the letter A. Then we have an R, and then we have the letter P. So over here, we have the first word, which is the word harp. Now, once you found the word, you must then circle the word to show that you have found it. Now, let's try and find the second word. The second word is the word sell. Do you see the letter S anywhere? That's right. There we have the letter S down there. And what is the second letter of the word sell? That's right, it's the letter E. So, do we have a letter E? There we go. We have the letter E on top of the letter S. And then we have the letter L and another L, which spells the word sell. So now that we have found the word, we go ahead and we circle the word. So now we have found two words from the word search. What you have to do, grade 2s, is you have to go and find all the other words that you have in your block on top and encircle them. So find all the words and circle them in the word search. Now, boys and girls, I want us to quickly turn our booklets to page 4. Now, on page 4, we have a little reading comprehension. And in that reading comprehension, it's all about, that's right, the heading there says Jack and the Beanstalk. Now, everyone, I am sure most of us have heard the story below. But let's see how interesting it can still be. So now I want us to all read through the questions. First through the story, and then we look at the questions. Let's read the story. Jack and the Beanstalk. One day, in a faraway land, a poor boy named Jack decided to sell his cows for some money. On the way to the market, he met a strange traveler who wanted to buy his cow for some magical beans. Curious Jack sold the cow to the traveler. Jack was pleased with himself. But when he got home without money, his mother got furious and threw the beans out of the window. However, the next morning, outside the window was the world's biggest beanstalk. Jack was excited and wanted to know what would be there at the top of the beanstalk. He began to climb it. After a long while, the beanstalk stopped, and Jack reached a strange land with a large castle at the distance. Jack slowly entered the castle and saw a huge giant sleeping inside. He quietly began to explore the castle. He found a lot of treasure. He decided to take some back with him so that he and his mother would no longer be poor. Just when Jack was going to leave the castle, the giant woke up and saw Jack. He chased him in anger, but Jack was too fast for him. He quickly slipped down the beanstalk. As soon as he reached the ground, he took an axe and chopped down the beanstalk. The giant fell and died. Jack and his mother lived happily, and they were never poor again. Okay, now let's have a look at the questions. Question 1 says, write 5 characters from the story. Write 5 characters from the story. Question number 2. Where did the giant live? Where did the giant live? Question 3. What problem did Jack and his mom had? What problem did Jack and his mom had? Question 4. What was the answer to their problem? What was the answer to their problem? And question number 5. Should Jack have taken the giant's things? Why or why not? Question 5 one more time. Should Jack have taken the giant's things? Why or why not? Now, boys and girls, let's quickly go back and read the story one more time. Jack and the Beanstalk. One day, in a faraway land, a poor boy named Jack decided to sell his cow for some money. On the way to the market, he met a strange traveler who wanted to buy his cow for some magical beans. Curious Jack sold the cow to the traveler. Jack was pleased with himself. But when he got home without money, his mother got furious and threw the beans out of the window. However, the next morning, outside the window was the world's biggest beanstalk. Jack was excited and wanted to know what would be there at the top of the beanstalk. He began to climb it. After a long while, the beanstalk stopped, and Jack reached a strange land with a large castle at the distance. Jack slowly entered the castle and saw a huge giant sleeping inside. He quietly began to explore the castle. He found a lot of treasure. He decided to take some back with him so that he and his mother would no longer be poor. Just when Jack was going to leave the castle, the giant woke up and saw Jack. He chased him in anger, but Jack was too fast for him. He quickly slipped down the beanstalk. As soon as he reached the ground, he took an axe and chopped down the beanstalk. The giant fell and died. Jack and his mother lived happily, and they were never poor again. Now, you can go ahead and look at all the questions one more time and answer them by looking at what is said in the story. Now, if you need to read through the story again, you can always go back and read it one more time. Now, boys and girls, you can go ahead, finish your crossword on page 3 and the questions on page 4. We will be right back after this ad break.
Follow us on MyZone Facebook Active Kids to watch your daily lesson and other fun activities with Zoe and Zoshi.
In the next part of our lesson, we are going to do measurements and we are looking at length. Let's turn our booklets to page 5. Now on page 5, you will see measurement, length is our topic. And it says, use a ruler to measure the following objects and answer the questions below. Now in the table, you will see there is one column with objects. Can we see all the objects? Right, now let's see what are these objects. The first one is a picture of a leaf, right? Then we have a picture of a shovel. Then we have a picture of a carrot. Then we have a picture of a garden fork. And the last one is a picture of a worm. Then you will see in the next column, it says estimated length on top. Okay, estimated length, it means we have to guess the length and then we have to measure the length and write it in under measured length. Okay, one more time. In the first column, you have your objects. Then in the second column, you have your estimated length. So that means that, say for example, you must first guess the length of the leaf. Then you measure the leaf and then you write in the actual measured length in the third column. Okay, now I have two examples for you on the board that we are going to do together, and this is exactly what you are going to do with the rest of the objects. Now, first you will see I have a ruler, okay, and on your ruler you will see on the one side you measure centimeters and on the other side millimeters. We have to measure in centimeters, okay. So I have two objects on the board. The first object is a branch. Then we have some plants, pot plants, right? So the first object, our branch, we have to take the ruler and you have to measure it. So what you are going to do is you're going to put your ruler down and then you indicate where your object starts and then you look at where your object ends. Okay, and then you measure the line which is given to you at the bottom of the object. Okay, so if I take this one and I have to measure it, but before we measure it and actually get the right length, we must first have a look at it with your eyes, look at it, and then you first estimate the length, okay? And when we estimate, we can also say that we are guessing what the length of this object is, okay? Now, for my first object, I am going to guess and I am going to say, I think my object is about, let's say, 25 centimeters. Okay, remember boys and girls, this is just an estimate. That means I am guessing. So now I will go ahead and measure it to see what is the correct measured length. Right, so now I go back and I put my ruler and I count and I count and I see this one is 30 centimeters. So my measured length here will then be 30 centimeters. Remember everyone, one ruler is 30 centimeters long. Okay, and you will see if I put my ruler here, it measures the entire length of my object. So you will see that I have guessed that it is 25 centimeters long, and then I measured it and it was 30 centimeters. Okay, let's look at our second object, which is pot plants. Now, if you look at this line here, measuring the length of these pot plants, what would you guess it is? That means we have to look at our or work out our estimated length. So if I have to look at it and estimate my length, I would say it might be about, I say 35 centimeters. Okay, remember what we said? If we estimate, we are guessing. So I said that I am guessing that it is 35 centimeters. Now let's go ahead and measure it. Now I measured it before, but I'm going to do it with you one more time. So I put my ruler down. Remember what we said earlier, that your ruler is 30 centimeters. So my 30 centimeters stops over here. But am I done? No, I'm not. I still have a little bit of space that left of the line that I have to measure. So now I have 30 centimeters over here. I can also write it down. And then we take the ruler and we measure the rest of the length. So I see over here, this part equals 11 centimeters. Okay, now I have to go ahead and add it all together. So if I take 30 centimeters and I add 11 centimeters, I can always write it down. 0 plus 1 is 1, and 3 plus 1 is 4. So that means that these pot plants equal 41 centimeters. Okay, so my measured length will be 41 centimeters. Okay, so one more time, for the first object, I estimated 25 centimeters, but I measured 30 centimeters. For my second object, I estimated 35 centimeters, but I measured 41 centimeters. Right, now you have to do the same with all the other objects on page 5. Let's quickly turn our booklets back to page 5 and look at the rest of the questions below. Question A says that the longest object that I have measured is so here you have to look at the longest object, or find the longest object and write it in there. Is it the leaf, the shovel, the carrot, the garden fork, or the worm? And you have to then write in how long it is. So you have to write in the amount of centimeters that you have measured. B, it says the shortest object that I have measured. So here you have to look at what is the shortest object. Is it the leaf, the shovel, the carrot, the garden fork, or the worm? And you have to show us or tell us how long it is. So you measure it in centimeters and write it in. And then question C, it says in the box below, draw a line that is 10 centimeters long. Now what you can do is you take your ruler and you draw a line that is 10 centimeters long. Okay, now I'm going to leave you to do it, the activity, and finish it on your own. Remember, you can always ask someone for help if you don't know or still don't understand what to do. We will be back after the short break.
Do you have children in the age range of 5 to 6 years and want to participate in our school booklet program? Please contact us on 081 74 3759 and we will put you on our distribution list for the attention of pre-primary schools. Topics include family, summer, culture, traditions and houses, transport and communications, occupations, autumn, and more. We distribute countrywide in over 10 different languages.
We have come to the end of our lesson for today. Now, before we go home, boys and girls, we have to remember to sanitize. Now remember, sanitizing keeps all the nasty germs away. So make sure that you rub it into your hands and between your fingers. Now everyone, before we go, my friend Zoshi said that he would join me today so we can go to the park. Do you see Zoshi anywhere? Zoshi. Zoshi. Oh, there he is. Hello, Zoshi. So, from Zoshi and I, since we are going to the park now, we are saying goodbye, everyone.
Our online school will help you along the way. Find us at www.zoshi.online and download the booklet. Follow us on Facebook to never miss a video. Subscribe to our Zoshi Telegram channel if you want to receive daily updates. Proudly sponsored by the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture, Namibian Community Trust, UNICEF, My Zone Online School, Amos Meerkat Syllabus, and Capricorn Foundation.